world. But as Isela mentioned, we're very happy to take your questions. So I'm going to begin with a very brief presentation. It's not the one that says thank you. Let's start at the beginning, just in case. So we're all going to give I'm going to give a brief introduction with some slides, and the rest of the panelists will talk about their particular areas, and then you can ask questions to any of us. Write your question on the piece of paper, raise your hand, and a helper will bring us the question. Okay? So I'm going to talk to you a bit about self-publishing, publishing that you do yourself. I think you're all very familiar with traditionally published materials, course books, skills books, and these are some of the words that people gave me when I asked them for their impression of traditionally published textbooks. But I think for most people, their impression of traditionally published textbooks is that it's something that other people do, right? And if you wanted to write something, that it's difficult for you to go to Oxford or Cambridge or Pearson or Macmillan and say, here's my book, will you publish it? That there's this idea it's hard to break in. How can I get my words to other people? And that was true for many years, but then came self-publishing, the revolution. And now it is possible for anybody to make a book. So there are few barriers to entry. There's time and skill and ideas, but you don't have to wait for some other person to say your ideas are good enough to share. You can make your own paperback books, as Rachel will demonstrate. You can also make your own ebooks, and I think that's what's exciting for you guys. Ebooks. Ebooks should be very, very exciting for you. Why? Because an ebook, which is just a sort of digital book, has many advantages over traditional materials, and also it has advantages for authors. So an ebook is just a digital book, but it starts as a file. It starts as a Microsoft Word file. If you can type a document in Microsoft Word, you can eventually create an ebook. But an ebook has what we call flowable type, so that you can make the words big, you can make the words small, you can read it on many different devices. So sometimes when I talk about ebooks, people say, but I don't have an e-reader. I don't want to spend more money for another device. But you don't need to, because you can read an ebook on anything. You can read it on your home computer. Your students can have your book on their phone, on the bus, in doctor's appointments, in class. They can have their materials with them at all times. So the nice things about ebooks for people like us, teachers and people who want to get materials to our classroom students, is they're very light, right? A traditional textbook is heavy. You have to carry it somewhere. But on my phone, I have thousands of books, right? I have thousands of books in this phone, and it doesn't weigh any more than my phone. You have that movable text, so if anyone has tired eyes, they can make the font larger, right? Which is nice for me at my age. You can have a dictionary function, so students can look up words they don't know. You can have a search function. If they want to find something again, they can search just like you do in a Word document or a PDF. You can add images. You can have audio on some devices. You can have live links. Your students can leave the book and go to a YouTube link if you like. So I think you get a lot more variety of materials because you, as an individual author, can make something that's tailored to just your class. A large publisher needs to invest so much money in a project, they are only going to make a book if it's applicable to many people, right? They're not going to make one textbook for your class, but you can make one textbook for your class. I think price is another huge advantage because it can cost you $0 to create a book, or you can spend a little money, but the price can be as low as $0, so your students can pay very little, or your students can also pay $0. If you create materials for your students, you can just give it to them. And the point of availability is I like my students having a book at home, perhaps a paperback, but also to always have a book on their phone or on their tablet or on their device with them, so your book is never lost. So you don't have to ask your students, oh, take out your book, and one student says, oh, I forgot mine, teacher, right? With an ebook, it's always with you. And they will last forever. So why should you, and I mean literally, each one of you, why should you write an ebook? I think one terrific advantage is that you can write materials that are just for your own students, right? If you took all the worksheets that you have been designing for years and you collected them into one nice book and put a beautiful cover on it and put your name and the title of your class on, then you can give your students something that they know has been created for them. You can also share materials with each other. You could write a book for Bolivia or share ideas with other people in universities, right? These are, yeah, and thank you, Gabriella, for the photo of some of you. If you see yourself, that's where your photo came from. I stole it off Facebook. But you can also write books for money. This is a book by Vicky Salmel from Argentina, whom some of you may know, that she wrote in my self-publishing class. She collected all the essays she had written on her blog, and she made it into a book, and now it's for sale on Amazon. So yay, go Vicky. So what do you need in order to make an ebook? Well, you're going to need ideas, but more importantly than that, you're going to need ideas written down, right? A book is just ideas that you have written down. And after you write down your ideas, you will either need time and skills or money, because you can hire people to do these things, for some editing, proofreading, formatting, and a cover. So of course it's possible to hire someone to do those things, but it is also, believe me, plenty possible to learn how to do it yourself. And I know that because I learned how to do it myself. And I like to tell people, if I can do it, you can do it, right? I learned how to make my own covers, I learned how to do my own formatting, total cost $0. So if you have never used an ebook before, I would like to invite you to try one, or try two. I'm going to give you one ELT book on 50 ways to teach speaking. I didn't write it, but I do publish it. That's why I have the right to give it to you for free. There is a web address there and a coupon code. So if you go to that web address, I think the total price is normally $1, but you are going to get it for $0. So you're saving $1. I know it's not that exciting, but it's a way to try a free book. Get your free book, download it. The software to read an ebook is free. You might need to Google around and see what fits your phone or something. And then I also publish fiction as well, so we have one entire novel. If you would like to search for that at your favorite store, it's also at the same place. That novel is always free for anybody. So have a book, try them out, and thank you. And next. And then we can... Is it on? Did you switch it on? Still no microphone. Can we have the microphone turned on? Helpers? Isella, my friend. Can we have the microphones turned on? I see a tech man running to the tech place to make tech magic happen.
Testing.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Dorothy, thank you. And I think, the encouragement to all of you to write is real. We have done it. We're not special. We're normal. We're just like you. I come from quite an academic background because I studied law. So I did a lot of legal academic articles, a lot of, let's say, ESP, if you like, for English. And actually doing my book was one of the most nerve-wracking experiences that I've ever had in my life. And actually putting the book together with the research and the neuroscience was quite a difficult journey for me. And what I would say is, really, research your topic. If you are passionate about something enough, you will write with passion. And if you write with passion, then you will capture the audience. So writing from the heart, getting your material, getting your research, and presenting the research in the right way. So citations, etc., is important if you're going to come into ESP, if you're going to come into topical issues. For example, I do a lot of the neuroscience, so all of my neuroscience is cited. And then I would say, you know, the journey with writing doesn't stop after you've written the book. And so many people write books and then they are disappointed because nobody is buying them. So if you are writing something, don't be disappointed that, you know, people don't know about what you've done. You have to then understand how to get to market the material, to market the book, to get people to know where it is. My book is on Amazon, but obviously you have to know how to channel it into other areas and other directions. Now, one thing that Dorothy mentioned there was about the e-books. I also want to talk about audio. Because, you know, nowadays we know that we live in a world where people have no time. And I can imagine that many of you actually listen to books. So if you are writing something, think about the e-version, but think about the audio version as well. And I've just spent the last couple of months simultaneously translating my book into Spanish. So the audio version is going to be available very, very soon. But again, it's always thinking about how can I reach people? How can I reach people in different languages? How can I reach people in different areas? How can I reach the people who don't know about what I'm doing? So writing a book doesn't stop here. It really stops with the marketing and the advertising and the connecting with people so that people know you.
Can you just hold up your book? So.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Dorothy. Yes. So if you are interested, any questions after, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
I'm Holly, and a lot of the writing I do has to do with the role that I play in my job. So at the university, I'm a professor of English as a second language and bilingual education, and now I'm also the associate dean for research. So one of my roles at the university is to encourage the students at the university, and importantly, my colleagues, the other professors, to publish, to write, to share what they're learning. But I come from education, and I'm a teacher, first and foremost. So it's very, very important that, hello? that let's try this one, that we sometimes call practitioner research is out and available for us to read and to learn from. You're teachers. You're doing research in your classrooms. You're working with your students. You're checking out a new strategy with your students. Does this work? Does this not? This is research. And this is important information, and you need to get that out there. I was thinking when I was listening to some of our colleagues speak yesterday, those from the embassy. They talked about some of the publications that are available for all of you for free through the State Department. And I was thinking, when I was thinking about our panel today, what is the first thing I ever wrote? What is the first thing I ever published? And I know I was really scared to do it. I can't write. I can't write for somebody else to read. And you know, I think one of the very first publications that I had that was published was from the forum, actually, several decades ago. But I was working with students in Budapest in Hungary and an academic writing class, and I shared an exciting activity that I had done with my students. And I got great feedback. And the forum is free too, so it's available to people. Now it's online. Back then it may not have been. But I got great feedback from other teachers all over the world. I thought, well, hey, that's exciting. Other people do find some value in that. I can share. And it was really, really rewarding. So I want to encourage you to think about different options for publishing like that. Now, TESOL has newsletters. Some of Beta might have a newsletter as well. Big TESOL has a lot of publications, TESOL Quarterly, TESOL Journal, but some of the different TESOL affiliates have their own publications as well. You can think about writing a full-length article with research and references, or you could maybe start out with doing something like a teaching tip. Many years ago, I wrote a teaching tip in a TESOL Mexico, and it was well received, and I got some good information. So those are just a few ways of getting information out there. Nowadays, we have the internet. You can put things on your own web page and share, and that's one way of writing and getting it out there. But there are many, many different ways of doing that. We have Padlet, we have S'more. There's all kinds of ways you can get information out there. But if you want to get it out there to a wider audience, that's also possible as well. You're teachers, you're doing research, you're seeing what works, what doesn't, what will fit for this group of students, what won't. So it's important to share your knowledge, and your colleagues can learn from you. It's very, very rich and very important. I'm going to share one quote and then pass the microphone on to my colleague, Dr. De Oliveira. And this is by Peter Elbow from 2000. He said, "Everyone can write because everyone has something to say that others want to read." So I invite you, and I look forward to hearing more questions that we can respond to in just a sec.
Hi, everybody. So my work, I'm Dr. Luciana de Oliveira. I'm the current president of TESOL International Association. And I work as a professor at the University of Miami. I also come from education, and my focus is TESOL and bilingual education as well, like Holly. So what is different a little bit about me versus my wonderful colleagues here is that English is not my first language, like for many of you in the audience. So if you are thinking, well, I cannot do publishing because I'm not a native speaker, please overcome that fear and think about everything that you have done to learn English yourself and what you do with your students who are becoming bilingual as well. So I just wanted to mention that because you may feel like, oh, but I can't do this, and so have some questions. I have about 200 publications and 21 books that I have either written or edited. So very, very busy person. So it can be done. It does take a lot of work as well. I don't self-publish. I have only published with publishing companies. And most of my work is also academic. But I do work a lot with teachers, and I publish a lot with teachers. So what I was talking about on Monday, I have published with Miss Cabana. That was a pseudonym. That's not her real name. Because when I'm presenting research, you know, we have to use other names for our participants, and that relates to having human subjects approval for our research studies and so on. So if you do decide to do something in your classroom, make sure that you don't use your students' names in your publications, real names. You can use pseudonyms. So let's say somebody is named Alvaro, okay? That's the real name of the student. And you can use Andres, okay, in your publication. Those things are really important to have pseudonyms If you're doing research in your own classroom, that's totally fine. If you're working with a researcher from a university, for example, which is our case, we have something that is called Human Subjects Committee in universities, and we need to have approval from that committee, making sure that we're not harming our participants. So that is really, really important to have. So if you do decide to work with a researcher, let's say from a university, I don't know how human subjects works here. You know, if there's an ethics committee, we call ethics committee in Brazil. If there is such a thing, and how you go about actually having approval for that committee to do research in your classroom, if you're working with a researcher. If it's your own classroom and you're just kind of trying to understand what's going on, that's exempt from the human subjects approval. It's very complicated, but I just wanted to make sure that you understand the process, because it's not like, okay, I'm going into my classroom and I'm doing the research and that's it. There are several things that you need to make sure that, that you do. I wanted to mention a couple of things more. One is that TESOL has a newsletter that's called TESOL Connections. So we do have the two major journals that Holly mentioned. TESOL Quarterly is our, what we call a top tier, very research oriented, very hard to get into. It's only a 3% acceptance rate. And TESOL Journal is more of our practitioner-oriented journal. So a lot of things that are published in TESOL Journal are more for teachers, and there's the connection between theory and practice, if you will. But we do have a newsletter that's called TESOL Connections, and the articles are pretty short. They are about 800 words, and they're usually about teaching tips, lots of things that you can write about for sure. We also have what we call TESOL Resource Center. That's basically a center on our website that has lesson plans and things like that. You do need to be a member in order to be able to access that. But as I mentioned on Monday, Bolivia is part of our global network, so our global members, so you can get a big discount to become a member if you live here in Bolivia. And I think Argentina is there, Brazil, there are several countries in, I think, Peru, Chile, several countries in South America that qualify for our global membership. So I would, advise you, if you have, if you have the membership, or if you have these teaching tips or a lesson plan that you have done, to try to do something for the TESOL Resource Center. The last thing that I wanted to say is one of the things that we are very concerned about is plagiarism. So if you get ideas from other sources, let's say you're on the internet or you go to a great presentation that I just did this morning about storytelling, so you can't just take those ideas and use them. So that's plagiarism. So you have to really cite where you got the information, and if you're doing something interesting in your classroom and it's original, and you have those ideas, then absolutely, you can self-publish, you can do, lesson plans and all of that, but this is something really important that we're always paying attention to. And I can tell you a little bit more about that, but it's definitely something that is on our radar as authors. So I think that's it for me, and we'll take questions now.
Thank you. First question. Is it possible to have a community of e-learning according to Latin American needs? Because South American, Central, and Caribbean have their own needs. Our students need to know about their reality.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, this is a very long question. Am I turned off again? Is this on? Is this on? This one's on. No? Is this one on? Are these on together?
Yes.
So is it possible to have a community of e-learning according to Latin American needs? Because South America, Central, and Caribbean have their own needs. Our students need to know about their reality. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's why I said one of the advantages of ebooks is you don't need to show a global profit to a major company. You can make it as global or as local as you want. You can make it local to your classroom or to your university or to your community or to Central South America or all of Latin America or all primary school students. You choose the audience. So, and I think that is one of the huge advantages of self-publishing, is that you can have these very narrowly focused or more narrowly focused books. And anybody else have anything they want to add? Or
Okay.
can you bring us all the questions, and we'll pick the ones that we can answer. So
we can go fast. Okay.
yeah. Ebook. I have a few ebook questions. So are you ready? Or? Yeah, I have a whole bunch. But does somebody else want to talk? Who would the right person be for teachers to ask for help to develop their own ebooks? Don't we need training courses? Yes and no. There are training courses out there, but there are also ebooks about how to make your own ebooks, of course. And there is the internet. If you Google help making an ebook, tons of sites will come up. There's one called Kboards, Kboards, just board, but K, the letter K, kboards.com. That's a community of self-publishers. They are happy to take questions from new members and beginners. So the internet is our friend. So there are training courses. I teach one every summer, but that's not necessary. You can teach yourself how to do that. Good luck with the microphone.
Hello. Hello.
Can we just have all the microphones always on, so when we pick
Hello.
one up, they're all...
There you go. So the question is, what field of English language teaching do you think it's necessary to be researched? So I think we have very few research studies on Latin America, period. So I edited a book 2 years ago now, 2017, English language teaching in South America specifically. I lost my question. But it was the first one, and this is 2017, the first book about English language teaching in South America. It is ridiculous that it is the first book that we have about this for more of an international audience. We can definitely have things here in our respective countries, but we can also have things that go really beyond what we're doing in our classrooms. And so I think whatever level you're teaching, young learners, if you're teaching high school, if you're teaching adults, if you're teaching at the university, we need to know more about the kinds of things you are doing, because we do not have enough. I think research studies about South America, about Central America, about Latin America, okay, so more generally. So I would say do what you can and with your expertise and go for it, and we're here to help as well. So
I'd like to add just something quickly to that. I think it would be very, very useful and important to have more research studies that have to do with students coming from minority languages like Guarani, like Aymara, these many languages that are here, to understand some of the learning challenges that students from such backgrounds might have when learning English, because that's our focus focus here. I think there's not very much research on about that, nor is there research on gaining bilingualism in multiple languages like that. So Spanish is important, but I know many of you speak 3 or 4 different languages. I think that's very, very rich information, and I think that that would be really wonderful to be out there in the field.
But do your...
So I have a couple of questions about the neurolanguage, and somebody's actually asking me about recommended authors relating to neurolanguage, actually neuroscience. And as I said yesterday, there is a lot of information on the internet. Just even if you Google neuroscience, you'll find a lot of journals, a lot of medical, let's say, research where you can come into doing some reading. With books, actually one of my major inspirations was David Rock. If you're interested, he has an amazing book which is called Your Brain at Work. And in fact, I trained as a brain-based coach, so that was my original training, and that then took me deeper into the neuroscience of learning. And I mean, other authors, you have Deutsch, Norman Deutsch, you have Medina, you have so many books out there nowadays that you can really get your teeth into with the neuroscience, with neuro-learning, and as I say, the original research with the neuroscience in the journals. Now remember that neuroscience is something that is progressively changing every day. You know, what we knew last week about the brain, we're now overturning because we now know something else. So it's research that you have to keep coming back into, because every single day, week, month, we're learning something new about ourselves. And I think that was the recommended books somebody asked, and the other person was asking the role of neurolanguage coaching in the process of the English language learning. Definitely, we learn with the brain. And, you know, it's about understanding how to make learning much more effective. We said yesterday that learners are changing. Learners need a different way, and they need to learn faster. And the question for us is, how can we get people into learning faster and more efficiently? So the more that we understand about the processes, the more we understand about forming memories, retaining memories, retrieving memories, the faster we're going to get our learners learning. And especially with languages. You know, we said yesterday it's about connecting language. We know that the brain is trying to make connections and associations. And with language, it's extremely important to understand that to help learners go faster. So I think I've answered 2 questions in one there.
Okay, I have several questions that are all related. How can you upload to Amazon a book that you already have in PDF? Is there any application to create an ebook? What tools can I use to write an ebook? And then what subjects can I write? What would you suggest? So I'm going to answer these together. How can you upload to Amazon a book that you already have in PDF? I have some bad news for somebody out there. You can't. You're going to need to take the information in your PDF and get it back into a Microsoft Word document. Because, question number 2, what application do I need? Most retailers will take a Microsoft Word document, and you upload that, and Amazon will turn it into a Kindle file, and other distributors and retailers will turn it into an EPUB file. But you'll start with a Microsoft Word document. So that's good news, unless you are the woman or the man who has the PDF book. And my heart breaks for you, because that's a lot of work to rewrite your book as a Word document if you can't find it. So what tools can you use? Back to Microsoft Word. What subjects should I write about? What can you suggest to me? 2 suggestions. One is write about something that you feel passionate about or you are very interested in, because what you care about is what you will be most inspired to write about. But the other thing I would suggest to teachers is write the book that you wish you could buy. right? A book that you've been to the publisher's stand and you say, you know, my students love fiction, but they're lower intermediate. I just want Latin American folk tales, but not from Bolivia because they already know those. Do you have a low-level graded reader of Latin American folk tales? And every publisher goes, no, we have the Penguin series. I'd be like, no, but what I really want. So when you can't find that book, then it's time for you to write that book. And probably you are not the only person looking for that book. So write what you need and write about what you know about and most importantly, what you care about. And I think we're out of questions. No? Oh, no. Oh, there's more. Oh, okay. Oh, go. Okay.
There are several questions here that have to do with working with teachers from different places, so basically collaboration. And I can say that there's a big need, and there's also, it's very important to collaborate, to work with people in different cities, in different countries, who teach similar but maybe different areas. Research teams or writing teams are very important, and not only would it be beneficial to you because you learn from each other, we're constructing our learning together, social constructivism and such, but we also, when we write together, we can learn from each other. And so I see there's some questions here about having a meetup, teachers working together to write together. I think that that's a very, very good idea. And now in this global world, it's quite easy. I also know, and this is related to another question before, that there will be a conference of multiple countries, multiple Latin American countries coming up very soon, a TESOL conference, and I believe the next one is in, who told me at lunch? In Colombia. And this would be a really wonderful time to attend this Latin American Colombian TESOL, where you can meet up with other people, share interests, learn from each other, and then you can publish together. So I think collaboration is very, very important, and thinking about research teams.
So we have about suggestions for teachers. So in terms of publishing, if you have lesson plans that you're creating, you know, a lot, especially at the beginning in your first maybe a couple of years, you're going to be creating new things. So save those up, and those can be sources of information for your writing. Something else that people start with is blogs. As a new teacher, you start blogging, super interesting, and a lot of people, that's basically all they do. So, start with that, and that would be, my advice for new teachers. I don't know why it's working and it's not working, but then there was another question about scholarships for teachers. I Hello? I don't know exactly what you're talking about. That's good, right? I'm going to not be Brazilian and speak with my hands. So TESOL has a lot of scholarships to attend the convention. So the convention usually is in March, but the scholarship deadline is in November. It's actually November 1st. And for new teachers, for first-time attendees at the convention, there are several opportunities there. So I can obviously speak about TESOL in particular because that's, I'm here through TESOL. So if you go on the website, you can find out more information, and you can just Google TESOL awards and grants, and it will take you there. You do have to be a member in order to apply for those, but as I said, you can become a global member.
I'd like to add, hello. I'd like to add one thing about scholarships. There's an organization through the United States, and I think also you would probably be able to access this information through the embassy or through your own embassies. Fulbright. Fulbright Association has scholarships for people coming from other countries to the U.S., as well as people going from the U.S. to other countries. I've been privileged to have several Fulbright scholarships and have studied and worked and learned languages and taught in other countries through that. But there are Fulbright scholarships where Bolivians could go to the U.S. and study. So I recommend that you look online for fulbright.org.
I have a question here which I've kept for myself. But I'm going to throw to my colleagues. It says, what kind of materials can I use to motivate students to speak in English? Now, it depends obviously on the type of learner that you have, whether child, adult, whether it's focused learning. And, you know, from the brain perspective, the brain loves real and personal. So whatever you are using as materials, I would ask yourselves, how real and personal is this to my learner? How is my learner connecting with the materials that I'm using? Because I do think with language, one of the most difficult steps is actually to speak. Everybody can normally write and learns to write, but actually that step going beyond the emotional brain is the biggest step. So the more that we can give them materials that they enjoy, the more that we can use materials to trigger them into their own experiences, their own, let's say, creation of materials, the better. Now, if you have business clients, some of you may work with business clients. I've worked with a lot of executives, a lot of lawyers, etc. One of the major questions is, what materials are you, client, going to bring in that you need us to be looking at? So again, it's connecting them into their real and personal and working with what they need and coming into very targeted learning. And in that way, you're going to get them learning faster as well. Let me throw that open to the colleagues if you want to add anything to that.
I would say that the example ebook that I invited you to download so that you can learn and practice reading an ebook, I don't know if you remember the title of that ebook, but it was 50 Ways to Teach Speaking. So if you download that book, you will have 51, because we have a bonus activity. You have 51 different activities that you can use to help your students speak more in the classroom.
I think there are no more questions. I want to say thank you, Luciana de Oliveira, Holly Hansen Thomas, Rachel Palin, and Dorothy Simak. Thank you very much for this important panel for us. As Bolivian English teachers, we really, really need to do research and start preparing our own textbook. Okay. Before to continue with the next and the last plenary, I would like to invite Pearson, because they have a special thing for you. Yes.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Martin Terán, Pearson's advisor. And before we start with the raffle, I would like to thank Beta Association and Isela for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's always a pleasure to help with the professional development of our Bolivian teachers. So thank you, and we're going to start now with the raffle. So we have a bag with the files. We're going to make it a little bit simpler, so we only have 10 minutes. We're going to take one file. If the person's here, he or she wins the prize, okay? We have 5 prizes. We have the first one is a Penguin reader and a methodology book from Pearson Longman, Make It Happen, From Interactive to Participatory Language Teaching, and another reader. So,
Wonderful prizes.
Isela is going to help us picking up the names.
But it's not yours, though. It's not my fault. Here. Okay, the first one. Ruth Patricia Lobo Vargas.
Is she here?
Oh,
Hey.
give her applause. Don't be jealous.
Thank you.
Okay, we have to hurry up, please. The otherwise, that will be for me. Next one. Wow. María Micaela Rueda Campero.
Is she here? These are
Yes or
games
no?
for classes.
No. She's
Next
not
one,
here.
next one.
Ah, that's a pity. Oh, to some tea.
Ah, no.
María Elena Salces, I know her. Go.
She's here?
Yes, she's here.
Yay.
This is. Okay. The third one, Romanet Claudia Belis Guzmán. One more, no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Miranda Crowhurst. I don't know if she. Yes, Miranda from Language Connection. No, she's not here.
Miranda.
Miranda, yeah, but she's not here. Okay. Rocío Ramírez. Rocío Ramírez.
This is the complete selection
One more,
and
no?
series of kid
The last
circles
one, no?
for primary from 1 to 6.
Okay, great. So,
And the last one. Eso lo vamos a mostrar.
¿lo reservo?
Un poquito. Vamos a seguir batiendo para darle.
And the last one, it's one of our latest books for academic purposes. It's called Critical Reading. It came out 2018, so I hope it works.
Martin, this
it's
is
good
the
for
last
you.
one, no?
And language assessment principles and classroom practices,
Wow, assessment.
and a bunch of penguin readers. Okay? So let's see who takes
That
this
is the last one, no?
This is the last one.
Okay. Carla Jessica Cárdenas. Yes.
Not here.
Yes,
Here?
she's here. She's coming. Thank you.
Perfecto. Bueno, así que nos saque una foto. Gracias.
Okay, gracias. Una foto rápido. Rapidísimo. ¿Quién está sacando foto? And the phone? Okay. Well, now it's a pleasure to invite Paul Salikson to the last plenary. He's going to close that amazing event. Wow. Oh my goodness. I think I'm going to start playing right now.
I think Dorothy
Yeah,
wants to,
okay.
Dorothy wants to say something.
Yeah, we stopped with this raffle, but after Paul, we continue with more raffles from Richmond and then Macmillan. So stay here, don't move. Yes, you can move. Okay, you can move. With Paul, you can move.
You can breathe as well.
Yeah. Mariana. Hi.
Lo van a poner acá.
Yeah.
Ella quiere
You guys. I am really sorry. I made a typo on my coupon code. I've just fixed it. So please take a picture of this slide. If you did not come to the panel and you have no idea what I'm talking about, it doesn't matter. Here's a free book. Go ahead and take a picture of the slide and enjoy this free book.
Thank you.
And thank you for the gentleman who showed me that it wasn't working, because we've now already fixed it.
Oh, no. Ya, tengo que llamar a 2 personas.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Well, my name is Genaro Kisbert, G of Genaro, and G this time, generous. Richmond Publishing and Santillana is really honored and delighted
Just
to
over
present one of our leading authors
Entonces, ¿qué aprende?
who wrote a book,
está?
especially
Okay.
with a heart looking at Bolivian teachers and students. It's been like more than 30 years that he's been working this job of producing materials that students are going to connect and learn. As you can see,
It's the warm-up.
Paul, very active. So this presentation is going to be like that. And there are many reasons why we have to celebrate. We celebrated already Christmas, is that right? We celebrated a Happy New Year, is that right? Can you show me your hands?
Pues, cambiar.
How many reasons
Está
how
conectado.
many reasons do you have now to
Sí, ya.
celebrate? Can you show
Cámbialo.
me a number in your hands? Come on, show me a number. 10, 1, 2, 3 reasons why you want to celebrate. So, Richmond and Santillana, we want to celebrate with you this very interesting presentation. But now first, let me introduce to Paul. Paul Seligson has been TFL in worldwide since 1978. Can you imagine that experience? And is well known for his lively, highly practical approach. He's got an MA in TFL and CELTA Assessor. His many publications include English Fly, and for Richmond, helping students to speak, Essential English in 5 levels, a kids, no serious for children, called Web, 5 levels, and his latest publication, English ID, with 4 levels, and Identities, which completes a whole series of 6 levels until a C1 level, an advanced level for an adult course. He's the first, book coming dedicated to Latin American learners and teachers. And he works freelance based in Brighton. So imagine he came, with his heart aiming to Bolivia and delivered this very nice presentation. So please, a big applause to Paul Seligson.
Thank you, Genaro. Thank you. Good afternoon. Hasn't this been a fantastic conference? Yes. Are you glad it's over? Are you waiting for the raffle? Yeah. I'll be quick, okay? Thank you very much for allowing me to play with your minds and for the privilege of being here. That's what I'm going to talk about. We're giving you a summary of everything on paper so you can take it away and share it with your colleagues. And I believe this is being streamed, so you may be able to pick up a recording of it later. Okay? So, basically my focus is entirely on the classroom. And my belief is that for too long we've been ignoring the advantages that our students have as Spanish speakers. If language learning was a race, and I'm not talking about children, I'm thinking about teenagers and adults. Let's imagine language learning was a race between people whose mother tongue was one of those languages. With the same conditions, the same time, the same energy, passion, etc. Who should win the race? I'm not talking about kids, but teens and adults whose mother tongue is fully established. Who should win the race? Who should learn English most quickly? I can't hear you. Shout. Yeah, it's the German. They win everything. They win everything. Yeah. The Germans win everything because, of course, German is closer to English. Who should come second? Who should come second? Japanese? I heard Japanese. No, it's the Spanish speaker. Our students should learn English more quickly. But if you look at the global situation, Turkish students, Greek students, Arabic students, Russian students are still learning English more quickly than our students. Generally. It's getting better, all the fabulous books, the fabulous talks, the fabulous teachers, but we're still not generating fluency as quickly as we could, should, and I believe have to with our students. Which are the 12 most similar languages to English? There's 11 there and there's one more. Which one is it? Yeah, it's Spanish. It's Spanish, okay? So those are the closest languages to English. And if you have that as your mother tongue, you ought to be able to learn English more quickly if the method that you use embraces your existing knowledge. So let's look at the classroom. A student asks you, Profe, ¿cómo se dice tolerar? How do you say tolerar in English? What? Wait. You're too good. What would you give them? Would you give them put up with, or would you give them tolerate? Just tell the beautiful person next to you. With Bolivian students at those levels, which one would you give them? Tolerate or put up with? Don't be afraid, I don't bite. I have legs. Okay, with A1, which one would you give them? Shout. 1, 2, 3, and you shout. Put up with, tolerate, or yo que sé. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay, A2. 1, 2, 3. B1. 1, 2, 3. That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah? So most of you agree tolerate for beginners. What would you do if a student says, teacher, what means put up with? What would you say? You would say, tolerate. What would you say in China? You have no idea. Yeah? But my feeling is for too long, teachers have tried to give put up with to beginners because it makes you look good. But you're not thinking about what's easy for our students. What's easy for our students? Tolerar, tolerate, hallelujah. Okay? But my feeling is that we're trying to push in the difficult stuff too quickly. How many of your students at B1 level know they cannot use for a long time? It doesn't make any sense unless you think you're trying to create a mini native speaker. What I suggest you do is whenever the students ask you for something which is similar to Spanish, just say, guess. Don't tell them, say guess. And they'll go, tolerate, tolerar, tolerud, tolerum, tolerate, good. Teach the class. It's much better if they find it for themselves. There's too much telling in teaching. We don't need to tell them what they can easily find for themselves. Does that make sense? Are you still listening to me, or are you dreaming about the raffle? I can see lots of cell phones. Photos, I hope. Okay. So, which would you teach in China? Would you teach put up with or tolerate? My answer, I don't care. Because you're not. You're teaching in Bolivia, so get real. Forget other context. Forget what happens in Germany or Turkey or Asia or Africa. It's not relevant. What's relevant is how can I help my students who speak Spanish to learn English more quickly? That's all you should be thinking about. You have to start with your students, not with the book, not with the test, but with the students. Any other approach is inhuman. And if you think about it, it's the context which should be driving what we choose to do at each level. Knowing Spanish is an enormous advantage. Can you see the stress? Enormous. If I say this slowly, even to Abuela Maria will understand. It's an enormous advantage. Yeah? So if you slow down words which are similar, students can understand. Okay? Is that explicit in your pedagogy? Or do you do lo de siempre? For example, when you're teaching beginners, and I'm focusing on beginners because the big problems in Latin America, and I've taught in every country apart from 3 in Latin America, the big problem is we don't get students to B1 quickly enough. It takes too long to get to B1. Once they're B1, they're flying and they're happy. But they should be getting to B1 much more quickly. Okay? So, when you teach beginners and you say, or you ask, do you understand? And the students say, yes, teacher. And you say, good, go on. And they say, go where, teacher? Where is on, teacher? So very quickly you say, sorry, continue. And they continue. Give me one reason why you should say go on. Give me one reason. One reason why you should say go on or carry on. Because a nativo would say that. But many nativos don't know that in Spanish, continue is a cognate. And you're much better working with language which they can understand immediately than making it more complex by bringing in the forms which somebody else might use who doesn't know your students. Do you see what I'm saying? We have to make the right choices for our students. That's all I'm saying. And with this language, you can explain anything to create some documents. Create some documents. Teacher, we understand. I'm still speaking English. I'm just modifying my English to be understood by my students. I don't waste time. They get motivated. Do you see what I'm saying? And I can explain anything to beginners. I never use Spanish. I never use Spanish. I don't need to, because I know the English words which they can understand. So when I see Spanish teachers using Spanish, I say, why are you using Spanish? Choose a different English. Choose the English which is available to your students from the beginning. And they will understand more quickly, and they will produce more quickly. And then I give them this poster on the wall, and I say, guys, this is the language I'm using to teach you. You can use this language immediately. You don't need me, you just need to make sure your pronunciation is something like that. And we will all understand each other 100% in English. Are you with me? So it helps you. Your greatest strength as a teacher, your strength is that you are bilingual. You can put yourself in the heads of the students. That's why the worst teachers in Latin America are often the native speakers who come in, think they're fantastic and beautiful and marvelous. And what method do they use if they don't speak Spanish? The method is bombard and pray. Where is the pedagogy in bombard and pray? We're not teaching kids. Kids, they absorb a language. They don't analyze, they accept. Adults translate everything. So let's get real. How often do you say to your students, think? in English. And the students say, what, teacher? How, teacher? How, teacher? Come on, think in English. And the students look for their English brain. And funnily enough, they can't find their English brain because it doesn't exist. At what level do students think in English? A1, A2, B1, B2? It's C1. So if you're asking students to think in English much before C1, you're dreaming. They will translate everything. And every time you say, don't translate, it's a slap in the face. Because they've already translated. It's too late when you say, don't translate. It's like slapping your students. And then they wonder why the method doesn't work. It helps you to speak less Spanish. So if you are a trainer and you see teachers speaking lots of Spanish, show them this language. Train them to slow down cognates so students can understand English and they don't feel frustrated. Why should we force native speaker English? Give me one reason. How many of your students will ever marry Donald Trump? They can have him. They can have him, yeah. Okay, adults don't learn like kids. But most of the methodology I see across Latin America is still very broadly the same. Immersion. Immersion. Immersion is fine for kids, but it's not our job to recreate the conditions of children. Our job is to compensate for the fact that they were not children. In monolingual Spanish-speaking classes, half of the methodology I see in books which are promoted in Bolivia is irrelevant because it's for multilingual classes. If you have Chinese, Japanese, Afghanese, Sudanese, all the knees in the class, yeah? If you've got lots of knees there, yeah, you have no choice. You cannot translate. You cannot anticipate. You have to bombard and pray to some extent. But if they all speak Spanish, you need a completely different methodology to make better progress. Which do you teach, the form on the left or the form on the right? Which one do you teach first, the form on the left or the form on the right? Most textbooks teach the form on the left. What we should be teaching is the form on the right. The same here. If you look in the textbooks, they teach the phrasal form before the other form. That's fine, but you'll make it more difficult for your students and you're treating them as if they didn't speak Spanish. But they do. What's the most important teacher quality apart from a high salary and good looks? It's empathy. What's your empathy? What empathy do you have with your students? You're Bolivian. You speak English and Spanish, and you've done what they're trying to do. Many speakers have referred to this during the conference. You are the perfect model, an inspiration for your students. Me, I'm irrelevant. I'm a dinosaur, a native dinosaur. What do you do when the students say, "Teacher, it's the same in Spanish"? What do? Do you say, "Yeah, baby, aren't we lucky"? Or do you twitch and say, "Think in English"? Every time it's similar, celebrate, because that's their strength. If you run away from similarity, you are hurting your students, you're cutting off their legs. Sorry, I jumped here. The quote is very important. This quotation is, "The greatest resource your students bring, it's not a pen, it's not a book, it's Spanish. Because every language is built on or around your first language." Rachel's referred to this during her talk. Neurolinguistics, I can't even say it, neurolinguistics has now proven that students always go back to base. They always go back to base to try to understand, to try to find an equivalent. When do your students feel comfortable enough to speak? It's when they have found an equivalent in Spanish. And it's only when they found the equivalence that they will speak with confidence. In other words, they're translating. Let me show you how stupid our profession can be. All of the books which you use have this, some kind of matching activity, pictures and places. But let's look at the words closely. Students, what is a bar? Huh? No Spanish. What is a bar? Every student in the school knows where the nearest bar is in case there's an emergency. Yeah? It's a ridiculous question. What I do is, students, those 15 words, let's look at the first 8. Guess the pronunciation. Museum, museum, good. Teach the class. I don't need to do anything except guide you towards correct pronunciation. Phase 2. Here, you need to match to the pictures because the form is very different. So what I'm suggesting is a 2-phase presentation. Phase 1, guess, celebrate, happy Christmas. Phase 2, be careful. Let me give you another example. That's what I'm trying to do, respect and build. Another example, many people don't believe me about these cognates, but if you go to a classroom, just look around the room and divide the words into similar to Spanish and different from Spanish. Look, all of these here, happy Christmas. Here, all of these here, you need help with the form because it's very different. So what I'm suggesting, if you just take one idea from my talk, look at everything from the perspective of a Spanish speaker. Divide your lexical presentations into 1, happy Christmas, similar words, and 2, these words are more difficult. Does that make sense? If you treat everything as equal, you're taking away their advantage. Similar thing like this. Let me show you actually how I teach. Okay, so just the months. I'm just choosing really simple stuff because most students still, the majority level in Bolivia is A2 or minus. So I'm choosing the low level stuff. Okay? This is how I teach. Students, look at the months. Okay? In English, it's January. January. How many syllables? 4. Okay, in Spanish, how many syllables? 3. Okay. In English, where is the stress? How do you know? The color, teacher, the color. Good, good. Okay. So in English, where is the stress? The first syllable. In Spanish, where is the stress? The second syllable. So is it the same or is it different? It's different. Am I speaking Spanish? Am I committing a crime? Am I breaking a rule? Do you think I will still go to pedagogical heaven? Can you imagine pedagogical heaven? Full of teachers who refuse to speak Spanish. Not for me. So that's what I do. And we build this, and we build that. And what the students take home is good reference material, what's close to what they have, and what's different, where to focus their energy and how to focus. Celebrating similarity and then reducing the learning load for the other side. Our languages are very similar. That's why I mark the stress, because English is so similar to other languages, but the stress is the biggest difference. Spanish speaker advantages, let's look. The biggest advantages are lexical. If you say your student's biggest problem is vocabulary, it's probably because you're teaching the wrong vocabulary. 58% of English comes from Latin. Where does Spanish come from? Happy Christmas. Yeah? That's where English comes from. There. That's the origin of English. So I call English a sister-in-law to Spanish. They're not blood family, but they're kind of married together. It's like a sister-in-law. Okay? My students think it's funny. It's okay. 1 in 3 of the most common words is a cognate. If you don't believe me, count them. A nice activity is to ask students to count. You count A, you count B, you count C in a dictionary. It's really motivating. We're obsessed with false cognates. If you Google now cognate, Google the word cognate, Spanish cognates, you will get false cognates. Even Google is obsessed with false cognates. It's fewer than 6% of the transfer words are false cognates. Over 90%, especially in context, Happy Christmas. And the grammar is very similar. If you don't believe me, go and teach in China. Go and teach in Russia. Go and teach in Turkey. I have, and I come running back to Bolivia. Thank God you speak Spanish. And that's the attitude we should be giving students. Thank God you speak Spanish. I don't want you to speak Spanish in the class, but I can build around what you already know. Look at that. English. We worry about grammar. How many forms? 5. Easy, easy, easy. What about Spanish? Ha ha. Can you imagine trying to learn Spanish? And then you worry about English grammar. Thank God we speak Spanish already. You got that from your mother. Say thank you, mother. Yeah? So back to the advantages. More advantages. 2/3 of the sounds exist already in Spanish. Have you ever taught Korean students? It's all in the nose. The only thing they can say is Gangnam Style. That's the only thing they can say. Mental translation's inevitable, often helpful. Of course, in Bolivia, you have the indigenous languages, Quechua, etc., which give you even more sounds. I think 95% of the sounds. If you have 2 Bolivian languages, you have virtually all the sounds in English. Does your pedagogy really celebrate that? That's my question. Do your students know this? Let me give you an example of how you can change your teaching very quickly. What I want you to do is, in pairs, could I ask you to try to pronounce the pink words? So the first one is cartel. Continue in pairs. Just pronounce the pink words. Okay, and stop there, stop. Whoops, God, just jumped. When you see the big hands, it means stop, cut. Okay? Did you have any problem with meaning with those words? Is there any problem with meaning? No. Have you ever done a class like that? Open the book. Before the class, you underline the words which are similar to Spanish. And say, let's begin the class by looking at the text from the perspective of a Spanish speaker. Which words are easy for us? Yeah. Now let's do lo de siempre, okay? This text I use with B1 students. If you look in the course books out there, you would never find a text like this because they're edited for the world. Have you ever seen the word metamorphosis in a textbook before a very high level? You would never see this in an international course material because they're edited for the world. I'm amazed when I come here, the books, half the books which I see in the conference are the same books you see in China. And I'm thinking, Chinese students, Bolivian students, learning English in the same way? You must be joking. It's an international commercial proposition. It's not the best pedagogical choice for our students. Can you imagine in China, a Chinese student saying, teacher, what is a metamorphosis? What would you do? Would you metamorphosize? Would you turn into a butterfly? Yeah. Our students, Happy Christmas. It's just a question of pronunciation. So if you're choosing texts for your students, don't think about traditional levels. Think about, from a Spanish perspective, which words you can leave in the text, which they can find for themselves. So they read much more interesting texts. If you're a CLIL teacher, underline the words in your English texts and get the students to notice that they're very similar to Spanish. All of this trying to separate English and Spanish is largely political. It's not actually pedagogical. It's not really in the students' best interest. Okay. And I'm mentioning this because I'm a very old man, and this is what's coming. What the publishers are doing now, they're trying to level each word according to the Common European Framework. Okay? So, which of these words are more difficult for your students? Which of those words do you think should be taught at a higher level for your students? Which ones are difficult for your students? Which is the most difficult for your students? Yeah, I'm not talking about kids, I'm talking about teens and adults. According to the publishers, these words should be taught at C1. And the rest should be taught at B2. And this is what's coming now. They're trying to classify each word according to native speaker frequency. And how many of your students are native speakers? None. So this is not relevant. If you speak Spanish, this is Happy Christmas. Do you see what I'm saying? By ignoring what our students know, we're taking away their advantage. We're treating them as if they come from another place, not from Bolivia. So be very careful when you look at the back. If the words are classified according to native speaker frequency, it's taking away your students' advantage. How often when students are taking the TOEFL test do they have a sentence with a gap and 4 spaces? And the students have to choose one word to go in the gap. And the students look at the first word and they think, that's the same in Spanish. It must be wrong. It must be the phrasal verb. And they put in the phrasal verb when in fact the Spanish word was correct. We're training them to be suspicious of Spanish, not celebrate Spanish. It's upside down. This is something I brainstormed on the plane for a very high level, because some of you teach very high levels. Imagine a really complicated text on the environment. It's funny, every course book has a text on the environment, doesn't it? Unit 7, the environment. Let's feel guilty. Okay, and then you study the class, and then the next lesson they come with the plastic bags, and nothing changes. Yeah? What I suggest you do is this. Look at the text, take out all the words which you think they know, put them on the board at the beginning of the class. When the students come down into class, ask them in pairs, try to pronounce these words. Now you say they're not all cognates, but look, students can guess change from climate. From that, the students can guess all of those words. You couldn't do this in China, you couldn't do this in another country. But we can do this, and we should. And then do lo de siempre. Read the text, answer the questions. And then just before the end of the class, before you leave, just say, before you go, pronounce the words better. And celebrate the fact that it's easy for us because we speak Spanish. It's a completely different motivation. I urge you to try to teach any text, just look at it from your student's perspective. Thank God we speak Spanish. I'll give you a minute now just to talk to the person next to you about these things. I'm just going to give you some facts. I need to drink some water. Have a look at some facts and just see how they make you feel. Is there anything there which you think is important, controversial, perhaps wrong? I'll give you a minute just to talk to your beautiful neighbor or get the phone number for later. Okay. I'll stop you there because it's the wrong forum for a discussion. But there's lots. Is there anything there you would like me to talk about? Any questions about any of that? If you think about all of them, it's very strong what we're trying to do. For example, look at this. 90%, over 90% of the teachers in the world are non-native. So why are we so concerned with native English? One thing is comprehension. Another thing is production. The biggest mistake I've made in my life as a teacher, of the millions, is that I've tried to ask students to produce what they hear. And that's simply, I think, wrong. One thing is comprehension. You need to understand movies, video games, texts, soap operas, etc. That's high level. It's difficult. It's a different skill. But what you can produce as a Spanish speaker is going to be much less, but it can be much more fluent if we worry less about grammar and more about fluency. I'll come to that in a second. Is there anything there you'd like? This is interesting, isn't it? Look, there's no research, none at all, zero. So why is translation forbidden? If you look at the literature now, it's changing. Translation is finally being welcomed back into the family, as Dorothy was showing you earlier. Okay? The top one is interesting. There are nearly 3 times more native speakers of Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, French, etc., than English. So if you teach students the Latin forms, it's much more likely they're going to be understood around the word than the phrasal forms. Do you understand what I'm saying? There are so many people who speak Romance languages that you're better off with tolerate than put up with in terms of English as a lingua franca. So we need to think about the choices according to the level and the potential audience of our students. Okay, I'll move along. Question for you. Which develops first? Okay, again, I'll count 1, 2, 3, and you shout. Fluency, accuracy, or yo que sé. All right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's funny. Yeah. Think about children. Think about children. Mama, teta, etc., etc. It's not, no, baby, make a sentence. Make a sentence, baby. It doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work. This thing, make a sentence, is very negative because we don't speak in sentences. And if I could go back in my life, I'm too old, but if I could go back, I would stop saying make a sentence. For example, when you ask students, are you Bolivian? And the students go, yes. And the student, yes, teacher, yes. And they say, no. Yes. Isn't that terrible? What are you focusing on? The verb to be, not the communication. Think about it. Yeah? It's insulting. You're Bolivian? No. Yes, I am. It's what I'm suggesting you do, it's fluency first. It must be fluency. Historically, what have we taught in Bolivia? Accuracy or fluency? Accurate. So it's upside down. It's grammar first, then fluency. It's the wrong way around. Students from Spanish-speaking countries can get fluent more quickly than anybody else because of vocabulary. But if you focus on make a sentence, you're treating them as equals to others. This is what I teach. If you come to my class, God forbid, if you came to my class, the first thing I teach you is this. If you're a beginner, I just give you this. I think Lady Gaga is fantastic. I think you two are terrible, for example. Then I give you Happy Christmas. I'll give you 13 adjectives. Start talking. And in the first lesson, you can give your opinion in English. You can exchange ideas in one lesson. Not I am, are you, who cares? We can help students to communicate. Every time you teach something, think about it from what extra can I put in? How can I make my students more fluent? And all of this they can use in the first lesson. Cherish fluency. Again, that's my message. We cherish fluency. If they say, "Are you Bolivian?" Yes, well done, congratulations. Not, "Yes, I am." Another example, look, I do this, complete beginners, I do this. The most common suffix for nationalities in English is "n." So, what's their nationality? What's their nationality? Bolivian, good. Tell me some more Latino nationalities. Peruvian, Chilean, Colombian. They're all "n." 35 Latino nationalities, all "n." What does your textbook teach? Chinese, Turkish, Polish. Why? Because many textbooks are sold in Turkey, China, and Poland. It's commercial. All right, so let's celebrate that. Many grammar items are similar in Spanish. How do you teach the superlative, for example? Normally the superlative is around Unit 11 or 12 or 10 at the end of a beginner course. So for the whole book, they're not allowed to use the superlative. And then when we reach Unit 10, you give them the comparative, the superlative, and all the rules. Toma ya. And after that, if you make a mistake, you lose a point. It's 100% accuracy. I teach my students, say, the most common in the first lesson, the most intelligent, the most beautiful. And they can use this all the time until we reach Unit 10. And then we can polish. How do you generate fluency? Putting words in the mouths of your students. And let them use them and then polish them. I think of myself as a polisher. You say it, I'll polish. If you don't say it, I can't help you. So that's your job as a teacher, to get words in circulation. So that's what I teach. And they can say all of these things and you think, but it's not correct. Do you understand the most good, the most bad, the most tall, the most short? Claro. You understand it's not correct, but it's comprehensible. So let them build confidence and then polish. If you wait, comparative, superlative, everything at the same time, it's too much. Which is correct, the friendliest or more, the most friendly? You sure? Do you want to bet some money? Yeah. It's not easy, it's difficult, you have to think. And yet we teach everything, toma, all the rules, and after that, if you make a mistake, you're in trouble. This is a poster which I have, an organic poster in the corner of my room. I ask students, if you see a word which is similar in Spanish, check in the dictionary. If it's similar in Spanish, give it to the class. Cross out the silent letters, the letters which you don't pronounce. Happy Christmas, we can all use this language. Imagine your students in a low-level class, A2, seeing this poster for 3 months. And then they have a test. And in the test, you ask them, so, what do you think of your teacher? And they say, well, he's human, but frankly, sometimes he can be a horrible masochist. Imagine a beginner saying this to you. You would, they can do this, but it never happens. It never happens. Why? Because we hide this language until another level. It's not available to our students. Here's another example for you. This is from a school in Castellón in España, where I work sometimes. They've been listening to my ideas. The whole school now is covered in cognates. The students, every time they find a word which is similar in French, Valenciano, and Spanish, they stick it on the wall. The whole school is covered in words which the students are contributing to the syllabus. Another poster which I use. If you come to my class, you'll see this on the wall. Your students can use 50 adjectives in the first lesson. You don't need a teacher to use this language. You just need to see it and try to say it. What are the biggest problems our students have? What are the biggest problems the students have? Which one is the biggest problem? Apart from my new word. What do you do if a student says, teacher, give ovation? What do you do? What do you do? Do you twitch and say, think in English? They're trying to think in English. What I do is, that's fantastic, ha, 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 ha. Sorry, it doesn't work, but don't stop. Be creative. You'll find more words. What are the biggest problems? You know. Those are the biggest problems for our students. If I come to your class and I say, what does your teacher focus on? What will your students' answer be? If I ask any of your students, what's your teacher's focus? They will say probably grammar and vocabulary. But they're not the biggest problems. The biggest problems are listening, pronunciation, speaking, writing, and spelling. Does your pedagogy really focus accordingly? You're not teaching international students, you're teaching Spanish speakers. Do you regularly set listening homework? The most important homework you can set is listening. Your students need to spend time in the company of English. Much better than filling gaps or a workbook is just simply listening when you're cooking, cleaning, getting dressed, etc. How much help do you give with spelling? We teach children spelling. With adults, we pray. What I do to try to help with listening is audio scripts have a pronunciation activity. How do you teach listening? Who here is a good teacher of listening? If you're a good teacher of listening, raise your hand. 2 people out of 300, 400. It's difficult to teach listening. How do you teach listening? What we need to do is help students to interact with what they hear. What do we do in the class? You play an audio once, and the students say, again, teacher, again. So you think, well, my salary's the same. I'll play it again. And you play it again, and they cry. So you say, don't panic, don't panic. Page 142. Let's listen and read. When you ask students to listen and read, what are they doing? Are they listening or reading? Primarily. Which is stronger, the eye or the ear? The eye. So when you say listen and read, what do? They read. What are you supposed to be teaching? Listening. What are you actually doing? Reading. Which is the easiest skill for Spanish speakers? Reading. Which is the most difficult skill? Listening. But we're not teaching listening, we're now practicing reading. So you need to get students working listening before you show the text. And when you show the text, give them activities which focus on pronunciation. For example, here, look, the stress. Number 3. It was too hard to choose a major. You can see it because I've actually given it to you. It was reducing the weak form. It was too hard to choose a major. You can see it, so you can understand more about what's happening. Because of time, I'll jump this. Sorry. That's the other thing, which is really important, which is the number 1 skill. In any language, that's what you do. So it's nearly half the time you're listening. Where's grammar here? Where's the grammar? We spend too long grammaring and not enough time with the skills. Okay, what's the best way to reduce errors in monolingual classes? Anticipate them. So we've talked a lot about fluency. You know your students will make this mistake. Guaranteed. Hello? Oh, that's interesting. Had enough of me already. Okay. So you know your students will make this mistake. So you have 2 choices as a teacher. Choice 1, say nothing. And the students will fall into the trap. And then you run around the trap and you say, don't panic, students. I can save you. I'm a highly paid Bolivian teacher. And you drag them from the trap by drilling them to death. That's choice one. Choice two, you begin the class. Don't do that. Do this. At the beginning of the class, the students come into class, they see, aha, ooh, and they avoid the trap. You can do this with every class. Every class you teach, just look at it from the perspective of where are the traps from translation. Put them at the beginning of the class on the board. Wrong, wrong, wrong. And the students are translating, but they're not speaking Spanish. They're getting the message at the beginning of the class. It contextualizes the class. And hopefully then they will correct each other because they have a model from the beginning. I haven't seen many teachers do this yet in Latin America. If you do, I salute you because I think it's the best way to teach Spanish speakers. Okay, can we have some sound? El sonido. 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 Ya está. No está, no está. Okay, I'll just try if I can get this working. 1 second. Oh, well, I know it's a shame. Let's see if we've got... It should be working. Should be working. Let's see if it works. Come on. Is it working or not? Let's see. No, it's not what was working before. Okay, well, not to worry. I can manage without. There's a song here which you may know. Baby, this is what you came for. It's Rihanna, it's not. I'm not Rihanna. That's Rihanna. Okay, just in case you're confused. Okay, so everybody in Europe knows this song. It's about 2 billion on YouTube. Okay, what I do at the beginning of the class. Stop, girl. Stop. Thank you. Right. I put up that on the board, and the students. I have the song working on a loop. As the students come in, so they're kind of singing and they're happy. We begin the class, look at that. It's wrong. Can you correct it? And they correct it. And there are the corrections. This I use for a revision class for present simple, present continuous. Okay? And then they start to talk. And when they speak, if they make a mistake with the verb to be, I say, look at line 1. If they say we is or he are, line 1. If they make a mistake with the present simple, I say look at line 2. And they look back to the reference of what they already know. I put a line from a song in every class to hook the language. Because I think our students have 2 fantastic resources. They have Spanish, un pozo de español, un pozo de música. And they can fish from both ponds to find the correct forms. I'm sorry you couldn't hear the song, but I hope you got the idea. So that's the sort of thing I put on my board at the beginning of the class. You know your students will make all of those mistakes. It's guaranteed. If you don't help them to avoid them from the beginning, they will make the mistakes. And students make enough mistakes anyway. So we ought to be avoiding the inevitable. That's part, I think, of a good Bolivian pedagogy. Try to avoid the inevitable, because there's going to be millions of mistakes anyway. Okay. Many institutions globally, they ask you to express your lesson aims at the beginning. Now imagine that's your plan. So you're a student, you're a Bolivian student, you're tired, you didn't really want to learn English, you come to class. Which of these plans makes the most sense to you? Plan 1, plan 2, or plan 3 on the board at the beginning of the class. Which one speaks most directly to your students? Which would you like as a student? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? Which one gives you the shape of the class best? This one is like a science class. This is not English, this is science. Horrible. This one is too much grammar. You don't need all that grammar at the beginning of the class. It may emerge from the class. This one, you look at this as a student and you think, aha, uhu, ihi. Thank you, teacher. And it contextualizes the lesson for you in the place where you are, Spanish, and it takes you into English. I'm not speaking Spanish, I'm just helping students avoid the inevitable. Okay? Basically, if you look in the materials we use, we have two ways of teaching grammar. We have inductive, which takes a long time. Strong students happy, weak students lost. Or we have deductive, which is boring. What I think we should be doing is anticipative, which is a terrible name. So I've changed the name. Look, we're teaching in Latin America, not inductive, not deductive. I like seductive. Seductive grammar is the way to go because you're teaching Latinos who like to be seduced. All right, that's the method I'm suggesting we use. That's my method. Mental translation, embrace it. Look at this sentence, think. How many words in English? How many words in Spanish? English, 8 words, 11 words. Spanish, only 8 words. Which are the words which are different? Boom, boom, boom. Practice. Where's the crime? I'm doing what they do. I'm making the comparison explicit in English to help them avoid Spanish. It's what you try to do every class, but inevitably they shout in Spanish, and we need to help them to avoid that. English grammar can be better understood by looking into the mother tongue. I would go further. You cannot conceptualize of the present perfect until you've looked in the mirror of Spanish and found the equivalent. So asking students not to translate is fine, but 1, they will, and 2, they need to find the equivalent. And when they have the equivalent, they can then progress to relaxed speaking. Just to finish, I'm going to give you a couple of activities. Which day of the week begins in the same letter in Spanish and English? Saturday, good. Which 4 numbers under 10 have the same first letter in English and Spanish? 9, 3, 7, good. One more. 6, 8, 8. Clearly not. Okay. With your beautiful neighbor, just don't shout, just do it together. Try to do this one. How we do for time? 2. Okay, and I'll stop you there because of time. Just stop there. What's happening in your coconut? What's happening in here? You're going. You're working incredibly hard. What's the teacher doing? Absolutely nothing. Just counting my salary. Feeling rich for once. Yeah. That's good practice. That's what students do at home before a test. Bring it into your classroom. It advantages different students. There are the answers for you. There are lots of answers. It's not really about answers, it's about process, it's about noticing. There are all these little ways you can hook language which are not fashionable because we've put ourselves in a corner where we say no Spanish. What we need to do is embrace intelligent use of mental translation and comparison. Look at the advantages. 100% advantages. Can you think of a disadvantage? I can't think of any disadvantage. But I've never seen a teacher do this because they're afraid that the inspector will say, "You're using Spanish," which is simply ridiculous. Because the students are using Spanish to reach English. Okay. Lastly, I'm going to give you a present. This is a present before I finish. What do you have on your classroom walls? Do you have something like this? How does that teach fluency? Put. Good luck. Yeah. It doesn't teach fluency. This is my daughter. She's teaching in Puebla in Mexico. She's the love of my life, okay? She's seen me talk about music. She lived with me as a child. Of course, she's my daughter. And she said, Dad, why don't you do the irregular verbs and regular verbs with music? So she did this. She asked the students to find a form of the irregular verbs in a song which they liked. And this is what they produced 6 months ago. And on the wall of her class, she had this. And when the students came to the next class, and the students say, we don't like that song. Good, give me another one. And it's organic, and it's fantastic for pronunciation, because look, when the students say, I haven't been, to Florida. So go, what's that song? Lately I've been. Good. So they self-correct from the pronunciation from songs which they suggested. So again, you can fish from music and fish from Spanish and generate fluency. Okay, just to summarize, own language used to be seen as a block. At least until the turn of the century, the notion of bringing in the foreign language, as many speakers have suggested, it was seen as an obstacle. Now it's a resource. If you speak Chinese, it's a resource, but Spanish is an asset. The goal of language learning used to be to try and be something like a nativo. Okay? Now it's much more about being bilingual, plurilingual, multilingual, successful. A successful switcher. If you can get your students to switch codes, congratulations, I salute you. You teach general English or English for specific purposes. What do you teach in Bolivia? Generally, in secondary schools, in universities. It's normally considered to be general English, yeah? Would you say general or specific? General. Most of you think no, you don't. You teach English to Spanish-speaking people. It's much more specific than you think. Okay? So, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've enjoyed the conference. Thank you very much for aguantating me. Thank you.
It is, you have to turn it. Okay. It is on? Okay. Thank you very much, Paul, for your presentation. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. How are you? All right. Please, do me a big favor. Take a look to the person that you have next to you and said, how is your perspective of teaching English with the Spanish in the back? Let's say a Spanish approach. Is it different now? Come on, take a look to the partner. All right. Okay. Right. Okay, this is the moment in which, as Richmond, we have some presents for you. The raffle time. I have here in my hand all the people that, okay, we have some others. Please, can you please help me with those? Thank you very much. Thank you. They're going to help you with that. Okay, I have in my hands the people that fill this form for Richmond, for us, in order to give you some presents. Okay? Some of you is going to help me. Some of you, please, is going to help me. Can you give me how much is, okay, we have another there. Okay, Kari, thank you. Please, could you tell me how much is, we have another, please, in the back. We don't have anyone left. Thank you. Okay, please, can you please tell me how much is 4 plus 5. Wow, we have a lot of participants here. All right. Okay, I'm gonna need somebody from the audience to help me with this. Any volunteer, please? Okay, we have one there in the back. Please, can you help me? Thank you, Katie. Okay, we have somebody in the middle, please. Can you help me? Yes, somebody. Anyone? Yeah, thank you. We're gonna have 45 winners because we have 45 presents for you. And please, listen your name very carefully. Don't worry, don't worry. Choose one of the. Okay, the first person is Marioli Rojas Ardaya. Okay, we have one, please. At the end, Marioli, at the end of this, we're going to give you the present, please. Otherwise, we're going to have a mess here. Thank you. The other person. María Elena Salces Velasco. All right. Thank you. At the end. We have 2. Somebody from Santa Cruz de la Sierra is Robert Mendoza. All right, Robert, at the end. Thank you, Robert, at the end. You are here. Another. Gabriela del Rosario Rodríguez del Águila. All right, thank you. The other person is from Santa Cruz, Pamela Cortés Leaños. Okay, he's here. All right. Congratulations. Next person is from Santa Cruz as well, Marco Antonio Álvarez Hidalgo. He's here. All right. Congratulations, Marco. The next one is Blanca Elena Cruz Peña. All right. Next person is from Cochabamba, Rosario Arancibia. Awesome. Congratulations. We have somebody from Santa Cruz, Kelly Velasco Salazar. All right. Is here, Kelly. Somebody from Cochabamba, Mary Vargas Coca. Is here. Mary Vargas. In the back. All right. Okay, Mary. Somebody from my city, La Paz. Adrián Diego Aranda Salazar. Is here? Okay, congratulations. Somebody from Cochabamba as well. Carla Jessica Cárdenas. Is here? Okay, congratulations, Carla. Okay, next person, Criskaya Yuhra Uribe. Is here? Okay, congratulations. Okay. Next one. Graciela Nelly Gonzalez Lupa. Congratulations. From Santa Cruz, Nancy Susana Moya de Quiroz is here. Congratulations. Oh man, we have somebody from Tarija, Yacuiba. Sixto Sanchez. Sixto Sanchez is here. Please raise your hand. Okay, we got you. Congratulations. Santa Cruz. Oh my goodness. Herboy Lester Garcia. All right. Jimena Miriam Barrios Pizarro. There's no city, but her name is Araceli Valdez Murillo. Valdez Murillo is here. La Paz, Delina Betty Cortés Alcón. Brenda Mariana Méndez Siles. Brenda. Next one, Edna Susana González Quint Pérez. La Paz, with a big heart here. Maggie Copeticón Ilaja is here. Roberto Simeone Quina Mamani is here. All right. Ángela Esther Almanza Moller. Okay, is there. Tarija, Gonzalo Bacaflor Morón. Celia Llave Rivera. Celia Llave Rivera. Luz Marlene Velasco Huanca. No city. Santa Cruz, Kelly Jocelyn Poma. Sucre, María José de la Fuente. La Paz, Eddie Emanuel Aguirre Castañón. Is here? Eddie Manuel. All right. La Paz, Ariel Marcelo Aguirre. Reina Arciénaga Aliaga. Ramiro Alcázar Silva. ¿Cuántos vamos? Graciela Camacho Villalta. From Panama City, Oderai Quijada. Tarki Kenta Grover. Santa Cruz, Carmen Isabel Rojas Coronado. Cochabamba, Griselda Giovanna Torrico. Elizabeth Galarcia Claudio. Okay. Santa Cruz, Romanet Vélez Guzmán. Oliver Sevilla Clavijo. Sevilla Clavijo. Pamela Arauz. ¿Ya? Pamela Arauz. Santa Cruz, Leonilda Flores Rojas. This is the last one, please. Santa Cruz, Estefano Gonzalo Delgado Gismondi. Is here? Okay, that's it. Thank you. At the back, please, at the back. Thank you very much for your presence here for all these days. And these presents are from Santillana, from Richmond. And you will receive it at the end of this, okay, guys? Thank you very much for all your presence. And thank you for the organizers as well for this wonderful event. Thank you very much.
Hello. Now? Good afternoon. I know you're very tired, so I'm going to be very, very brief. Macmillan, Dorothy, could you come, please? So we have several presents, but we have six very important ones, right? We're going to give 2 sessions for free, right, with Dorothy Simak on the topic you decide.
So if you win one of these prizes, you have won a 1-hour Skype session. We could probably do WhatsApp or Google Hangout or something, but Skype is easiest for me, so I'll try that first. On the topic of your choice, you can ask about teaching. We can just have an English conversation and practice your English. You can ask me about self-publishing, your choice. So if you get the certificate, what you have there is my email. So you need to email me and we'll pick a day and a time that's possible for both of us. You let me know what you want to talk about, and then we can talk for an hour.
And the other 3 prizes are related to one of the best and well-known teachers' resources webpage, and I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's called onestopenglish.com. And it's got more than 6,500 activities. And it's got tons and tons of activities. Teachers, you're just going to love it. And we are giving 3 licenses that they last a year. Okay? So those are the 6 big prizes. And apart from that, we are giving 16 small books over there for the rest. So a total of 20 presents, okay? So let's start. Adrian, just pick up a number. So remember the people that went to the Macmillan stand, they took a ticket, a green ticket? Okay. So we're going to go with Dorothy first.
Okay, and the first number is 11527. 11527.
Yeah.
Well,
Nobody?
as they say in Chile, al agua,
Al agua. All right.
to the water.
Okay. Second number?
One, 11337.
11337. Nope.
You're saying 0
No.
Isn't there a 0 in front?
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, there is a 0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not taking into account the 0?
Well, I don't know.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So the numbers all have a 0 in front of them. He's skipping the 0, right? Because I assume everybody has a 0. So forget the 0 on your ticket. Read it again.
Okay, without the 0, 11337.
Okay, next.
No, next.
0, 11370. 0, 11370. Yay.
We can have a skies for this. Let's go faster. Congratulations.
Okay, next one. 011341.
011341. 0.
011341.
Nope.
You're not very good at it. Let me try. Gotta go down to the bottom, shake it up. 011328. It's harder than it looks.
It's harder than it looks, isn't it? 011352. 011352.
All right, another one.
Okay, we're going to be doing it. 011360.
011.
011360.
Nope. Yep. Okay. All right.
It's actually, yeah.
Okay. So that's the second one.
011323.
011.
011323.
This is for One Stop English. Now we're going with One Stop English. Do we have a winner? Excellent.
011325. That's 011325. Zero one one 315.
Is that somebody? Is that a winner?
The second license of One Stop English.
What else do you have? Did you do 315?
315 is here, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So go on up to her. Maybe hang off till we know what the next.
Yeah, sure.
You did. Okay, so now we've got 16 small bags over there.
Zero one one 313. 011313. Zero one one 321. 011 321.
Yeah. Yeah.
011 317.
Next.
011 325. Perdón, me equivoqué. 011 335.
Another one. There's over there. There she's coming.
Oh, we got one.
Yeah. Go and get her.
011 369.
Next.
011 373.
Next.
011 374.
Probably all going to be 011.
Because all of them are 011.
Yeah, they all.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Okay. And look with the baby. That's the youngest learner in the whole conference. Keep going.
Okay. 011 387.
Over there. That's the girl. That's another one. Okay. Okay, continue.
011 309.
309, ending in 309.
Zero one one 374.
374, the ending 374.
Ends in 374. 011 344.
344.
Ending 344.
Over there. All right. Keep going. There's a lady, 344.
011 396. Ending
396. Over there.
381.
Ending in 381.
502.
502.
502. Whoa, we're like this is like Father Christmas all over again.
Is that all right? Okay.
How many more do you have?
We only got like 3 more.
Okay. 357.
357. Over there, right.
501.
501. These are the 3 ending numbers.
501. Three 383.
383.
Oh.
Nope.
354.
354. There, over there, 354. 2 more.
382.
382. Over there.
311.
311. And we just got 3 left.
How many more? We got 3
4,
more to
4
go.
left.
4 to go, last 4. 307. 307.
Over there, 307.
305.
305.
508.
305. 5.
508.
508. Nope.
519.
519. Okay. Keep going.
312.
312. And we just got the last
Okay,
one.
who's going to be the lucky one to get the last one? Is it going to be 343? 343.
It's 343 over here. Oh, it's over there.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you very, very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Macmillan. Wow, you gave us a lot of presents. Thank you. We have, please, with ABM. ABM, please. Yeah, okay. Okay, some words.
Hi guys, it is always a pleasure to meet you at the convention, and let's hope we see each other again in next year. There are 14 prizes, and you can take the prizes from the table over there where the dancers are.
There is a present? Here, no, no, yo nunca puse eso. Ajá. Huh? Okay. Oh, hi. Again, I have to. Okay, it's one present? Okay, it's only one present, the lucky girl is Ana Isabel Saavedra. Good. She's here.
Okay, give me the paper.
Okay. Okay, the paper. Oh, one more. Felicia Gutierrez. Felicia Gutierrez. Over there. The present is over there, please. Please. Yeah, again. Felicia Gutierrez. Ya. Cleti Jacqueline Ángulo. So, pay attention. Guillermo Alvarado. Yeah, okay, done. Okay, we have 10 prizes. Teresa Murgia Orellana. Teresa Murgia Orellana, okay. Mario Quiroga Rivero. Mario Rivera Quiroga. María Berta Hisbert. Patricia Arteaga. Patricia Arteaga. Okay. And Silvia Patricia Salazar. Yeah. Okay. And the last one, Madeleine Gomez Lima. Madeleine, thank you, ABM. Okay. Okay. Okay, we have another prizes from near language. And also our special invitations. Please, Rachel, could you tell us about the special invitations from this year?
So, there is a special invitation for all of you if you're interested about enhancing learning and making learning better. There is a conference in Lisbon in May. I know it's a long way, but we would love to see you if you're able to be there. We'll also be doing some live streaming, and it's called the Neuro Language Learning Conference. And Isela knows a lot about it because Isela was with us in Edinburgh this year. So, well, last year now.
Yes,
so yes, please do join us. And are they going to put on a video? Let me have a look to see if we've got a little video to show you. Yes? Just 1 minute. And in a minute, we're going to be doing some quiz questions, and whoever wins the quiz will get a book. So first the video, I hope.
Okay.
Yes?
Facebook. Sí, conferencia. Sí, 9.
1 minute, it's coming, it's coming. Maybe. Maybe we do the quiz first. Okay, so let's do the quiz first. You know, yesterday in my talk, I was asking, or I was saying to you that there is an area of the body which they call the second brain. So the first person that says or gives me the answer can have the book. The gut. Okay, we heard it over there first.
Rachel, please, we can see the video, please.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Isela. I'm from Bolivia. I represent the Bolivian English Teacher Association because I'm an English teacher. That is my first time in Neuro Language Coaching Conference. I'm so surprised because it's the first time that I heard about this conference. I came here without knowing anything, and now I'm so happy and it's still so exciting because I learned everything about neuro language, how you can learn about your brain, and I think that Bolivia will be happy to know about this. I want to be enrolled about this neuro language conference, and I hope I can come very often. And I want to say thank you, Rachel, thank you, everybody, thank you for the team, and see you then.
That was a surprise. Yes. Isela didn't know that. That was from today. So, one more book. So, is the brain electric? Oh, I'm gonna say whoever comes running first comes and gets it. So many. And the final book I'm going to give to Isela to say thank you. Oh, Isela, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Rachel, we have the invitation for tomorrow. Oh, yes. Could you explain about the Neuro Language Conference?
And I'm still here tomorrow. We have a special day working with teachers in Spanish about how you can become a coach and giving you an introduction and how to be more brain friendly when you're communicating with your learners. So tomorrow we're going to be in the Hotel Marriott from 9 o'clock until 5. Lunch is included in the price, and we're going to be working hard, pero todo en español, para que tengáis el cerebro muy calmado. Okay? So see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Rachel. But for all English from different subjects.
Yes, teachers of any topic.
Okay, all educators. Thank you, Rachel. Lingua, please. Have a special for the Cambridge test also. And this is the last parable prizes.
Well, just remind you guys, we have a special prize for the TKT test. For all the participants on this convention, the price for the TKT will be $80. The regular price is $110. And if you want to register for the test, you can find me over there on the back. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To continue with the program, it's a pleasure to say that we are almost at the end of our 24th annual convention for English teachers. This international convention was thought and created in order to give you teachers the more updated information we can. That's why we invited these expert presenters from UK, Europe, North America, Central America, and South America. But to bring them all couldn't be possible without the support of our sponsors. Pearson, Richmond, Macmillan, ELC, MM Publications, El Paguro, La Hoguera, TNT Book Reps, Express Publishing, National Geographic, U.S. Embassy, Relo Andes, British Consul, Lamar University, Asesoría Educativa, Unitec, Smart Step, Cladera Organization, Universidad Latina de Costa Rica, Universidad del Salvador, Anglia, Language Connection, Marriott, Brisa Editorial, Yotaú Hotel, and we want to give a special mention to Professor María Juani Villarruel, the headmaster of the language career at Gabriel René Moreno University, the president of TESOL, Luciana de Oliveira, and Professor Gonzalo Fortun, the English program coordinator at U.S. Embassy. Now, it is an honor for me to invite Miss Isela Coronado. Please, let's give her a round of big applause.
Thank you. Okay, distinguished members, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure for me to say a few words at the end of this conference. I am very grateful for having had the opportunity to be the organizer of the 24 Beta Conventions. On behalf of all my team, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you who have come together here from various countries for your cooperation, which has enabled us to conduct a highly fruitful convention. This has been a wonderful convention after all. It is good for all the teachers to learn about the excellent research done by the speakers in their countries. Thank you for that. It is important to remember that going to conventions is like taking vitamins, but it's also more than that. It is a time to make friends and to learn about each other. English is a common language that has brought us together despite the different nationalities that we are. I'm really happy to be part of Beta. Beta is an amazing association. I'm new. I'm just almost 4 years working in this organization. I want to say thank you to all the representatives of each city, Sucre, Tarija, Pando, Cochabamba, La Paz, Oruro, Potosí. We are so happy that we can train those English teachers that live in Bolivia. That is the purpose why we prepared this conference. So we have special numbers from India. It's a special dance. It's an international dance. So if they come here, please. Abajo. Okay, it's ready? Okay.
दिवाली मिलकर दीप जलाएंगे चुनरी की कर देगी छैया चुनरी की कर देगी छैया आएगी बन के पुरवैया
छोटे छोटे भाइयों के बड़े भैया आज बनेंगे किसी के सैया
जचते हैं देखो कैसे बड़े भैया जचते हैं देखो कैसे बड़े भैया राम जी बिहाने चले सीता मैया
छोटे छोटे भाइयों के बड़े भैया आज बनेंगे किसी के सैया ढोल नगाड़े बजे शहनाइयाँ झूम के आई मंगल घड़ियाँ
Thank you very much, IYF. Well, this is an international dance, and I was thinking about my slogan. And after traveling abroad and knowing many people, international colleagues, I was thinking about this. Okay, now we are already international teachers. So, an applause for all our international speakers here. That's why I wanted to start with international dance, but now I want to show Santa Cruz de la Sierra, the hostess.
Todos vamos a bailar
otra vez en carnaval.
con alegre mascarita saltaremos juntos por el arenal.
Mamarracho soy de pura cepa, cantando voy con mi guitarra.
Todos vamos a bailar
otra vez en carnaval.
con alegre mascarita saltaremos juntos por el arenal.
Mamarracho soy de pura cepa, cantando voy con mi guitarra, buscando voy por la ciudad, mi Santa Cruz. Mamarracho soy de pura cepa, cantando voy con mi guitarra, buscando voy por la ciudad, mi Santa Cruz.
Mamarracho bailo en la Blackwood,
Camba yo soy de Santa Cruz.
carnavalero y bullanguero. Mamarracho bailo en la Blackwood,
Camba yo soy de Santa Cruz.
carnavalero y bullanguero.
vamos a bailar. Otra vez en carnaval, con alegre mascarita saltaremos juntos por el arenal. Mamarracho soy de pura cepa, cantando voy con mi guitarra, buscando buri por la ciudad, mi Santa Cruz. Mamarracho soy de pura cepa, cantando voy con mi guitarra, buscando buri por la ciudad, mi Santa Cruz. Mamarracho bailo en la Blanco, canta yo soy de Santa Cruz. Carnavalero y bullanguero. Mamarracho bailo en la Blanco, canta yo soy de Santa Cruz. Carnavalero y bullanguero. Mamarracho bailo en la Blanco, canta yo soy de Santa Cruz. Carnavalero y bullanguero. Mamarracho bailo en la Blanco, camba yo soy de Santa Cruz. Carnavalero y bullanguero. Mamarracho bailo en la Blanco, camba yo soy de Santa Cruz. Carnavalero y bullanguero. Mamarracho bailo en la Blanco, camba yo soy de Santa Cruz. Carnavalero y bullanguero.
Thank you, thank you. That was the Carnaval Bullanguero. We have more dance, but I want to stop here because I want to call Christian Torres. I have a special thanks to him. I'm really grateful with you. Unbelievable, but he was, can say, the only person who opened the doors that we can have this amazing conference, this place. Martin Cárdenas Auditorium opened the doors for the 24 International Beta Conventions. So Christian Torres, could you come, please?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, it was not me. This is not my institution.
Yes,
it's the directory, the Dr. Martin Dogweiler, the president of our institution, who is always open to these kind of events. And the spirit is, I think, contributing and transcending. There are two types of teachers, I think. There is a group of teachers that teach to live. I mean, it's a job. You make money, you do your work, and that's it. But there are other type of teachers. Another one, that is the ones that live to teach. And these are the ones that we need, because these are the ones who make the world change, who think that they can transcend by teaching, by sharing what we know, and by giving young people the tools to be good professionals so that they can contribute to the development of our country. And that's what we need. I was pushing very hard for the authorities to authorize the auditorium because, you know, as universities, we do research, and we are also involved in research. And we found out last year, by May, that the European Union was doing some research regarding the profile of English teachers in South America. And Bolivia was included in this research. And can I say what I found out? Yeah, the thing is that there are two things that we are not doing well. The first one is that many of us, I'm not going to give the percentage, many of us, and I say us because I was an English teacher too. I'm not teaching English anymore, but I started teaching English. Many of us don't have the qualifications as teachers, and many of us don't have the qualifications as speakers. This means that some teachers don't speak English well enough to teach it. And some teachers have no training or no sufficient training to teach. And if we want to make something good, this is not the way. This is not the way. And you know, we know that the government of Bolivia doesn't obey or order us to have a specific qualification or a specific recognition. It does not. Perhaps in Chile or in Peru, they demand a specific level of English and some specific qualifications to teach English. That's not the story here. But that is not legal or illegal doesn't mean that it is responsible or moral to teach without the qualifications. And if we do not have them right now, because we know how my English is, we know what I know about teaching and learning and pedagogy and so, if you do not have those qualifications, I think this is a good place to start, or perhaps to continue. But what you have to do the teaching responsible and to be responsible professionals of education is get your English together and get your teaching abilities together. And I think that's the most important message I can give you all. Education demands a lot of responsibility from teachers, because in our hands is the future of our countries and our region. And English is very important, we know that. So we need good English speakers, and for that we need very good English teachers. So congratulations to all of you who came. Congratulations to all the beta presidents. Congratulations to Isela for the organization of this event. Congratulations to all the teachers who registered for taking TKTs or advanced certificate exams, anything that can, prove that you have the qualities to be a good teacher, because those are the teachers that make the difference, and those are the things that we need to make the difference. So I hope you have a good time. Udavol is your home, is your house. We hope we can stay in touch. We have amazing opportunities to keep studying here, and of course also to work. We have Udavol in Cochabamba, La Paz, Oruro, and Santa Cruz, and from now on, please, beta teachers, consider Udavol a place for you. Thank you, and have a nice afternoon.
Thank you, Aquina de Bolivia University. Thank you very much. Okay, now we have another dance. Oh, sorry. Okay. I would like to ask all the sponsors if you can come in the front, because I'm so grateful, because they help a lot beta conventions. Please, Macmillan, Richmond, Pearson, are you here? Are you here? Please, Macmillan, just if you come in the front to see all the audience. Genaro, Martin, from Pearson, La Hoguera, Meme Publications.
But I'll pretend to be.
No. Yes, I want you to know them. Okay? La Hoguera, First Class. All of the sponsors are here, please. If you can come just for a while, because I want to thank them. I want them to know also. American Embassy. Jennifer. And yes. Thank you. So if I give you applause for them. Most of them left. That's why we have a brilliant job. Here you have in our web page. I don't know if you know the web page, but we were mentioned a lot of time to get involved and know all of the speakers, the sponsors. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, now I think it's ready, the next dance. So music start.
A ver esos carringas come yuca, a bailar Vamos a bailar la viborilla, que es el ritmo más alegre de la música oriental. Es un taquirari bien movido que bailan los fatiguillas cuando llega el carnaval. Hay que proteger las criadillas y endurar las pantorrillas por si quieren aguantar. Porque en este baile hay zancadillas, hay codazo en las costillas y bolleo a todo dar. Fatiguilla, fatiguilla, soy el rey del carnaval. Voy saltando por las calles, siempre listo para amar. Fatiguilla, fatiguilla, si bailas la vigorilla no te dejes sorprender. Porque te vacían los bolsillos, te pelan los calzoncillos y hasta chuto amanecer.
Ay, 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 mamacinga, venga con su fatiguilla.
Vamos a bailar la viborilla, que es el ritmo más alegre de la música oriental. Es un taquirari bien movido que bailan los fatiguillas cuando llega el carnaval. Hay que proteger las criadillas y endurar las pantorrillas por si quieren aguantar. Porque en este baile hay zancadillas, hay codazo en las costillas y bolleo a todo dar. Fatiguilla, fatiguilla, soy el rey del carnaval. Voy saltando por las calles, siempre listo para amar. Fatiguilla, fatiguilla, si bailas la vigorilla no te dejes sorprender. Porque te vacían los bolsillos, te pelan los calzoncillos y hasta chuto amanecer.
Ay, 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 mi moroco, que viva el carnaval.
Fatiguilla, fatiguilla, soy el rey del carnaval. Voy saltando por las calles, siempre listo para amar. Fatiguilla, fatiguilla, si bailas la vigorilla no te dejes sorprender. Porque te vacían los bolsillos, te pelan los calzoncillos y hasta chuto amanecer.
¡Fuerza, fatiguilla! ¡Fatigando a esas cambingas!
Thank you. Please, all the representatives from each city of Beta, could you stand up? Yes, we usually always sit here, but okay, for this occasion we are down. We have here our 9 representatives from Beta conventions. Oh, wow, it's already, I think it's not a surprise for Maria Elba Zambrana. She represents the Beta Cochabamba. Okay. Do you know why I call her? Most of them know about Beta. Who can answer that? Do you know why I call Maria Elba Zambrano from Cochabamba, Beta Cochabamba, to come here? Please. Because, okay, you have to know that every year in January we have our international conventions. This was the 24th convention, so the next one will be the 25th. So, Maria Elba, you will be the organizer. All our committee decided that you have to be the organizer for the 25th Beta conventions. So, Beta, Cochabamba, now it is on your hands, and I hope, I'm completely sure, because she's a really, really nice organizer. So if you want to say some words for the audience.
First of all, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your applause. And I want to say just the thing that you read there. Cochabamba will wait for you next January 2020. And I will send everybody in beta Facebook all the information you will have there. But now you know that it will be in Cochabamba, the heart of Bolivia, in the heart of South America, that will wait to all the countries that are represented here. Welcome for the next international convention. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Now it's time for the international speakers. Please, Costa Rica. Carlos Mayorga, could you come, please? I want to present, I know you know very well. Miguel Ángel Carranza from El Salvador. Ricardo Díaz from Honduras. Meinder Montenegro from Nicaragua. Carol Ochoa from Colombia. We have from Argentina, Susan Tuero, Mónica Gandolfo. Maria Eugenia de Loza is here or she left already? Maria Eugenia de Loza? Marcela? Marcela Burgos said, no, you have to come here. It's Argentina. We have from Panama, Oderay and Zuleika. Peru, Glenda Gallardo, Gabriela Rodríguez, Claudia Vanini, Alonso Correa is here. Please, Alonso Correa. ¿Quién más viene? Abdias Roman, because I was looking for him. Abdias Roman is here. I haven't. Oh, you were there. They are from Peru. From US, we have a lot of speakers. We have Holly Hanson. And Susan Gaer. Joseph Sheffield is here. Joseph. Wow. Alex Monsieur. Our Luciana de Oliveira, but she has double nationality, Brazil. Also Brazil is here. She represents both countries. Yeah, because Jorge Espada is from Mexico, but he's not here. He's traveling already. Yeah, now, but this is from UK. Please, Rachel, Pelin, Paul, Selixon, Adrian. Where is Adrian? Adrian, yeah. Oh, he's gone. And also Susan Hilliard from UK. Those are my amazing international speakers. They were ancient. Dorothy Sima from US. Kill me. Yeah. Yes, Dorothy Sima. Jennifer. Please. No. Okay. Now I want to show the national speakers. Victor Crispin from Bolivia. We have 12 speakers. Rosemary Rivera is here. Rosemary. Sheila. Please come in. César Cladera. Roberto Quina. Could you help me to come here, all the national speaker, please, so we can go fast? Roberto Quina, please. Beatriz Erazo. Beatriz Méndez also. Ernesto Correa. Adam Segarrundo. Rosemary Rivera is not here. I don't know why, but they didn't expect that I can call you in the front. Rocío. Ya, mejor, ya. Yeah, Rocío Bustamante. Those are my amazing speakers. I want to ask you, do you enjoy the conference? Do you enjoy the speakers? How was the conference? And also, I want to call Gonzalo Fortun. He is a part of our coordinator from the US. He's our speakers, our keynote speaker. Okay?
Please, Jose Luis Polo. Is he here? Somebody else?
Thank you. One more dance. We have the Caillou Baba. Please, ya, que cambien ahora.
It didn't have the necessary effect.
This side. Thank you very much for everything.
Ya, pero ahora quién va a dar las palabras. Pregúntale a la palabra. De agradecimiento. Dile de agradecimiento.
Benedita, no mando una foto. ¿Es loco?
Ya tienes. So we're gonna start with the music, with the. Ah, qué bonito. Okay, we almost finished. And I want to tell you about your accreditations. I will deliver it with your representative from VETA. Please, from Tarija, Blanca Altamirano, could you stand up? She's representative from Tarija. Can I give an applause her, please? Chuquisaca, Sucre. From Chuquisaca, Edith Cerrudo. Víctor Condori from La Paz. Oruro, Potosí, Pando, Benny are not here, but, well, maybe they left already. So you can have your accreditation from them. They're going to have your certificate. And my last word, next week. That's okay? Santa Cruz will receive already. Pandestea. Okay. The certificates are ready. You saw them on the table because we had the signature from the TESOL president, Luciana de Oliveira. We had the pleasure to have the signature on the certificate. Thank you, Luciana. She had to sign 600 times. Oh my goodness. Please don't hate me. Yeah, because, you know, nowadays we have the digital one. But in Bolivia, we need we can use that digital one. We need a handwriting. Okay, so, what was that? Photo sessions. I wish all of you have a safe trip to home and say thank you again for being here and being part of these conventions. I hope to see you again the next year in Cochabamba. Thank you very much, and our conventions end.
The beta staff is required here in the front of the auditorium, please.
¿El equipo organizador puede subir en la parte de acá de adelante? Equipo staff beta, ¿puede subir a la parte de adelante?
Que el bolero te cabe. Ayer me quedé a hacer unas conexiones porque si no, no iba a haber conferencia.
Atención, todos los chicos del staff tienen hasta contar 5 para estar aquí, por favor, en el atrio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Time is over.
Ese es el chico.